Lomhlabathi uyaphenduka, lomhlabathi lona sebephatha umthwalo, awusenyami indaba, awusenyami indaba lendaba, awusenyami indaba, awusenyami indaba.
Tuli, known as the Land of Giants, is a wilderness area of big skies, rocky koppies, amazing views and massive trees. It is rich in history, from the days of the early inhabitants of Stone Age and Iron Age peoples to the endless conflict between the chiefs Lobengula and Kama. It was the hunting grounds of famous hunters such as Selous, and the playground for Cecil John Rhodes and Paul Kruger. Today, Tuli is less turbulent, but still not without conflict between the wildlife and communities of the area. The Tuli Block, situated in eastern Botswana, is an area of many hundreds of square kilometers. The number of people in this area fluctuates from as many as 3,000 people in towns like Matatani to as few as 10 people in the cattle posts. The wildlife is free to move within this area without the usual constraints of fences, as is found within most game reserves these days. The wildlife is spectacular. The area is home to over 350 bird species and 48 larger mammal species. Tuli is to be a part of the proposed Limpopo-Shashi Transfrontier Park that will incorporate South Africa, Zimbabwe and Botswana, creating a safe wildlife haven of 4,872 square kilometers. The harsh and untamed vastness of the area and its general inaccessibility has meant that very little is truly known about the nature in this region. Tuli is the most incredible area, and its seasonal changes are the single most intriguing and fascinating aspect out of all. To be truly encapsulated by the area, one ideally needs to see it throughout its annual cycle. One sees the dust bath in the dry season turn into a lush paradise shortly after the first spring rains, and watch the wild flowers and grass come to life and then vanish. One sees the trees grow new leaves, flower and drop their leaves. One sees life in the form of water come trickling down the dry riverbed after the first rains, and watch as it turns into a ruthless monster, and then see it slowly dry up. One sees the mapani worms devour the leaves of all the trees, and the millions and millions of brown-veined white butterflies that fly through. One sees the quilias coming in clouds that block out the sun, and then leave again. One sees the arrivals and departures of the elephants and general game, of the insects and scorpions, of the snakes, lizards and tortoises, of the migrant birds, of the crocodiles and hippo, and everything else that nature has to offer. One helplessly watches the animals suffering and dying in their dozens as the water and graze disappears, and the area turns into a scene of destruction and sadness. But then see life reborn again with the rains. One sees once in a lifetime sight.
Malbuye, malbuye, dosi ya mama.